Lori, I just want to ask if Trump has mentioned any South Korean shipbuilders in that announcement to build harder, better, faster, stronger warships stateside.
He sure did, JP, and it's Hanwha. And as you know, Hanwha has a very extensive relationship with the Trump administration, and they are now going to be a key player in what Trump has declared as the Trump fleet of vessels. That's the vessel class that it's called. And so, in fact, when it comes to Hanwha Philly Shipyard, we actually sat down extensively. We had amazing access, JP. We have a documentary on CNBC.com as well as a YouTube channel where we talked about U.S. shipbuilding, and we went firsthand and spoke with the CEO of Hanwha Shipping as well as Hanwha Philly Shipyard. And I have to tell you, JP, the numbers do not match to what the president is telegraphing because of the fact that as of right now, Hanwha Philly Shipyard only makes one vessel a year. When I interviewed the two executives, one from Hanwha Shipping as well as Hanwha Philly Shipyard, they explained to me that it's going to be a combination. It's going to be a hybrid building, if you will, where a lot of the parts of the vessels are going to be made in South Korea at the South Korea shipyard, and then it's going to be assembled in America. And so when you look at the time frame, President Trump said 2 vessels will be made in the 2 years. That fits in the timeline of what the capacity that Hanwha Philly Shipyard can achieve. And the reason why is they do not have the manpower. They are ramping up. Remind you, they just purchased that shipyard a year ago, and it needs extensive investment. I've also been told that Hanwha is looking to expand its physical footprint around Philadelphia so they could start making more vessels. Trump wants to have 10 vessels shortly thereafter, and then down the road, about a decade from now, at least 20. And so the numbers don't match in terms of this time frame. But from what I've been told and from when we were there, Hanwha is committed to making sure that they get their end of the deal completed, but it is not going to be an easy task.
Lorianne, great reporting there. And of course, as you mentioned, quite a heavy lift still to come when it comes to achieving some of the ambitions around the plans that the president has announced. But I also wanted to ask you about another story that you've been following really closely. I've been following it closely as well. It's this situation in Venezuela, because Trump mentioned this in the speech. He said that the U.S. is going to be keeping these ships and the oil that the U.S. is seizing off the coast of Venezuela. What's going on there, and what are you seeing particularly in the supply chain right now, which is your area of expertise?
Sure thing. So when it comes to what's going on with the Venezuelan tankers, it's more than just the seizing of the oil. You are looking at, in real time, a slow increase in geopolitical tensions. And what struck me, like what happened over the weekend, is something that Kepler, one of the analysts, told me, is that it looks like that the United States was able to seize the Centuries. That's one of the vessels that was seized over on Saturday under what is called the 2002 Salas-Becker Agreement, which is with Panama. Here's the key thing that all the investors out there need to be aware of. It doesn't matter if the vessel that is being seized by the United States is on the sanction list. It's what the vessel is carrying or the intent of the vessel. Case in point, the Centuries, which was seized on Saturday, it was not on the sanctions list, but because it was a Panama-flagged vessel, they called Panama and they said, we know for a fact that there is Venezuelan oil on that vessel. We are going to seize it. And under this agreement with Panama, inked in 2002, it's a cooperative agreement. Panama said, okay, go to that vessel. And so I then asked Kepler, well, if there's one Panama vessel out there, right, Panama flagged vessel, are there others? And they said yes. They are looking at 3 more vessels that are full of Venezuelan oil that are under the Panamanian flag. And yes, indeed, the United States government can seize that vessel, even if it's not on the sanctions list, because the fact that it's carrying the Venezuelan oil. The other one, when you're looking at a supply chain perspective, When you're looking at the last vessel, the Bella 1, she was actually empty, but she was en route to Venezuela in order to pick up the illicit oil, which shows intent, and that's why they took her out of the game.
Lorianne, to your point, it seems as if the measures that the Trump administration have been taking have certainly sent a shockwave or a chilling effect through the entire shadow fleet. I thought it was interesting as well that President Trump has not necessarily ruled out war with Venezuela. How seriously should market investors and traders be taking that rhetoric from this peacemaking president, as he calls himself?
You know, when it comes to the bluster, we all know with President Trump that there is a lot of bluster behind his words. But also, if anybody that has been covering Donald Trump, as we have over the last administration, this one, he is a man of his word. And so if he does threaten, he follows through. It's not empty threats. And so if he does talk about the fact of a possible ground invasion, while nobody would want to see that, he's already made good on his promises of having this blockade. Right. Trump makes good on his threats. And so I think you just don't discount it. It's just a matter of hopefully not when, but, if.
Okay, so Lorianne, I'm curious as to how this might impact Asia, especially ahead of that Lunar New Year holiday for China. What can you tell us about what Asia what Asia could expect, at least, from a lot of these fast developments?
With the fastest developments, as we all know, China and Cuba are the top consumers of Venezuelan oil. That's why we saw China over the weekend actually first come out and condemn what is going on, because in the end, they are going to be impacted. They will be able to find oil in other parts of the world, but it's not going to be cheap. Pushing forward to Lunar New Year, which is really key for the Japanese economy on so many different levels. But looking at the manufacturing and supply chain, normally when the country shuts down for the holiday, you have U.S. importers pulling forward all of their orders weeks and months in advance so they have the product here so, they can have their product before the manufacturing plants shut down. We just did a CNBC supply chain survey. And that was with like Kuehne+Nagel, DHL, OL USA, Seco Logistics, all of these people that receive orders from U.S. shippers. And they're going to be pulling that freight from the boats, to the warehouses. They were telling me in this survey that it's going to be pretty much status quo. There is not going to be a bump here. And as we know, China makes its GDP with the exports. And so that's going to be a key thing for us to look at.